Tanga to shine again. Befitted farewell to Sam Nujoma.
He is the hero that waged a war for the liberation of Namibia.
Good evening, I am Faida Ngaga. You can also follow us live via our YouTube channel, TBC Online. Also, get all the latest news through our Instagram, Facebook and X pages at TBC Online. President Samia Suluhu Hassan says the government will continue to maintain a friendly environment for investors in order to enable Tanga region return to its previous status of having many industries. Bertha Mwembela prepared the following report, read to you by Antonia Kivaria.
President Samia Suluhu Hassan continues with her working tour in Tanga region, where she has inaugurated development projects, inspected other projects, and speak to different groups of people. Among other activities, President Samia today addresses people who turned up in large numbers at Mkwakwani Stadium. The President of United Republic of Tanzania expresses her wishes about Tanga region.
Ninatamani kuirudisha Tanga ya viwanda.
I want to bring back Tanga with reviving industries that can have significant impact on local economies, creating jobs and boosting innovation. If industries are starting to distribute and new ones are emerging in Tanga, it is a sign of growth and potential. Tourism is among aspects that President Samia would like to see prosper in the country.
Naitamani Tanga ambayo itakuwa na utalii wa fukwe.
Tanga has so much potential as a tourism hub, especially given its beautiful coastline and rich cultural heritage. For Tanga to truly become a top tourism destination, Tanga has pristine beaches that can attract tourists looking for relaxing beach vacations. With its mountainous landscape, Tanga has great potential for adventure tourism. Speaking about health sector, Minister of Land, Housing and Human Settlement Development, Deogratias Ndejembi, says more than 1.2 trillion shilling have been allocated to improve the health sector.
It is inspiring to see the significant investment has been made in improving healthcare infrastructure in Tanga, with the construction of district hospitals, health centers, emergency services buildings, and critical patient facilities. This is a crucial step in ensuring that the region's healthcare system can adequately support its population, especially as tourism and local development grow.
President Samia Suluhu Hassan is expected to wind up her tour in Tanga region tomorrow by visiting Tanga Port. Antonia Kivaria, TBC News.
National Memorial Service of the founding father and first president of Namibia, Sam Nujoma, has been held today in Windhoek, Namibia. Vice President Dr. Philip Mpango has represented President Samia Suluhu Hassan at this service. Agnes Tuniga, who is in Namibia, reports.
Thank you very much, studio. Well, we are here at the Independence Stadium, and today, of course, indeed, it has been a celebration of the life of the iconic leader of the Namibian Republic. Definitely, today it has been an official memorial service which has been conducted here. And to discuss more on this, I'm joined by the Minister of Information and Communication Technology, Emma Theophilas, who is going to discuss with me intensively. Welcome to TBC.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much. Take us through the significance of this particular day today. We have been having an official memorial service here at the Independence Stadium. What does it mean to Namibians?
No, thank you again for having me. Karibu sana. We are here in Windhoek, the capital city, where we are both mourning and celebrating the life of our founding president and father of the Namibian nation, His Excellency Dr. Sam Shafishuna Nujoma, who left us on the 8th of February 2025 at the age of 95 years old. His Excellency Dr. Sam Shafishuna Nuyoma's name is imprinted into the fabric of Namibia. There is no mention of Namibia without Sam Shafishuna Nuyoma. He is the hero that waged a war for the liberation of Namibia. He went into exile in 1960 and only returned 30 years later in 1990 when Namibia gained its independence. And I'm happy to note here that Tanzania, at the time Tanganyika, was such an integral part of his journey, from leaving Namibia through Botswana land that time, all the way to Tanzania and through Ghana in order to get to the United States to petition at the United Nations for the freedom of Namibia. So all of us coming together here today.
You are also the spokesperson of the government.
Yes.
Now, can you take us through the order of the procession tomorrow, which is the final journey of the iconic leader?
Indeed. Well, the journey started already about 2 weeks ago. From the 9th to the 1st of March has been declared a period of national mourning. And in those days, His Excellency President Nangolo Mpumba declared that the body of the founding president must go around the country. And it did go around the country. As many Namibians as possible were able to say their final farewells. Others would come to the memorial services across the country, in some regions of the country, view his body and finally say their final goodbye.
Senior journalist from the Tanzania Broadcasting Corporation, Gabriel Zakaria, is one of the few journalists who got a chance to interview the late Sam Nujoma. My colleague Antonia Kivaria spoke with him, and here he starts with explaining what kind of a person the late Nujoma was.
Well, I can say that it is indeed, I got a privilege to interview His Excellency, the late President, the former President of Namibia, Sam Nujoma. And this was an exceptional experience that I got from him during my visit in Namibia. And what I can say about the late Nujoma he looks as a very simple person. He has always been a very down-to-earth man. And even the Namibian themselves, they're saying Namibia, even during his leadership, he was not a person whom you can fear just to meet up with him. And whenever you happen to get and meet with him, he has always been very friendly. And I can remember the time when I met with him in his office. He gave me a warm welcome to his office, and he paid attention, he listened to me, and he was very cooperative than you can imagine. He was very, very cooperative. And what I can remember is, I remember a lot that he has been discussing with us about the relationship between Tanzania and Namibia. And he was considering Tanzania as his second home. Sometimes he say, you know, Tanzania is just my second home because Tanzania is where we spend our time during the struggle of their independence. I can remember that he met with the second former president of his country, Hifikepunye Pohamba in Tanzania, during their struggle for independence. So I can say that the loss of His Excellency, the former president of Namibia, is a big loss to Africa, not only for the Namibian, but I can say that it is for the Africa, because you remember that this was the person who was led the struggle for the independence of his country. He's being regarded as an icon of Namibia who led the struggle to overcome and just to enable his people, especially black people, to gain their independence.
Now, let's explore the concept of decolonization of the mind. From the late 19th century to the mid-20th century, Africa was subjugated to colonial rule. The continent was carved up, its people subjugated, its resources exploited. Colonialism sought not only to dominate the land, but also to reshape African identities, erasing or diminishing indigenous cultures, languages, and belief systems. In the process, African minds were molded to view foreign culture as superior, while their own heritage was dismissed as primitive or inferior. The impact of colonialism on the African mind was profound and lasting. generations were taught to look at themselves through the lens of their colonizers, internalizing feelings of inferiority. African languages, cultures, and histories were systematically undermined, while foreign ideals were promoted as the standard.
First of all, if you want to understand the decolonization or colonization of the mind, you have to go back before colonization. All these nations, all societies were under kingdoms, and their kingdom had a tendency in its nature to expand its territory and put its influence in many nations across, all tribes across. So when that influence hits another territory, we call it colonization. Now, what is this influence? Cultural influence. And the question of culture here becomes so crucial in everything we do as black people, as people of this world, because culture is the total way of living. How you think, how you engage in the activities of economic activities, in the political activities, in the social life, everything, that thinking pattern a human being has. When it's accumulated together, we say culture. Now, colonization disturbed that sort of life.
The purpose of colonialism was multifaceted, with economic gain, political control, and cultural domination at its core.
You read this book by Anthony Satin. It's a book called The Gates of Africa. This is when explorers came. They came to explore Africa. Of course, there were so many things they were looking at. They were looking at resources. They were looking at routes, how they could carry their resources out of Africa. And they were also studying the Africans because they knew inevitably they would have to come and settle in Africa because of the resources that were discovered here. And if that was the case, that they were to come here, then they needed to understand the Africans. They knew they would probably face resistance. They had faced resistance in the first instance when they got in, and they were prepared. So they had to learn about the Africans.
Decolonizing the mind is a way to reclaim self-determination and identity, allowing Africans to envision and create a future on their own terms.
After introducing colonial rule, they had to establish colonial education. Now, in colonial education, that's where now they brainwash and change the way you think to something different. And when you are having a concept of education which does not emanate from your sense of social cohesion, your sense of people of the same color, people who originate from a certain landmass, then it will totally change the way you think, and it will degrade the other. Now, decolonizing the minds comes to that line, that to ensure that we come back to our sense. We leave this deep slumber we had from colonization, which teaches us not to love what we are, but love what they are.
The journey toward decolonizing the mind is ongoing, and it's not something that can be done by governments alone. Every African, from the grassroots to the intellectuals, has a role to play. Faida Gaga, TBC News. The President of Zanzibar and Chairman of the Revolutionary Council, Dr. Hussein Ali Mwinyi, says the government has a significant responsibility to invest in higher education so as to produce more healthcare professionals in the country. President Mwinyi made the remarks in Dar es Salaam during a commemorative symposium honoring the first Chancellor of Muhimbili University of Health and Allied Sciences, MUHAS, who is also the second President of the United Republic of Tanzania, the late Ali Hassan Mwinyi. Karen Malo has the story.
Muhimbili University of Health and Allied Sciences at Mloganzila campus. Scientists, academicians, professionals, policymakers, and philanthropists have come together to commemorate the first Chancellor of MUHAS, the late Ali Hassan Mwinyi. The guest of honor of this event is President Hussein Mwinyi, who commends MUHAS for hosting the annual conference, which also marks the launch of Ali Hassan Mwinyi Endorsement Trust Fund, aimed at supporting students, as well as handing over of the late Ali Hassan Mwinyi's regalia and awarding ceremony.
Among the things that we discussed today was the establishment of an endowment fund, the aim of which is to collect money from different sources so that we can continue the good work that he was doing in the area of education or training, but also in research, and everything else that the college is doing.
President Mwinyi further assures that the government takes into consideration the challenges related to roads at Mloganzila campus in order to give the best education experience to the students.
I promised them that the government will work towards making sure that we come up with the extra funding so that we can achieve what they're asking.
The government has allocated 120 billion shillings for the implementation of the HEAT project, which involves the construction of MUHA's medical campuses to train medical practitioners in various health disciplines, a government project that is supported by the World Bank through an affordable loan. Here, the Minister of Education, Science and Technology, Professor Adolf Mkenda, highlights the impact of the late Ali Hassan Mwinyi on MUHAS.
He was the Chancellor for 17 years here. We saw all the things that he has done. Actually, he was also instrumental in picking this area, Mloganzila, as a new campus for Muhimbili University of Health and Allied Sciences, MUHAS. So the achievement we are seeing here also signifies, it is a reflection of the good leadership that the late Ali Hassan Mwinyi did.
Meanwhile, the World Bank Country Director, Hanisa Arrow, praises the government of Tanzania for its ongoing initiative to improve the education sector.
Commend the government's commitment to education, exemplified by the recent completion of key reforms that paved the way for a brighter future for Tanzania's young people. With the implementation of the new education and training policies and the phased introduction of the new national curricula, Tanzania is taking bold steps towards building an education system that is truly empowering our citizens.
The commemoration involves the laying of the foundation stone for the construction of the College of Medicine at Mloganzila campus in Dar es Salaam. 80 billion shillings is actually used for the construction of the medicine campus here at Mloganzila. And as you can see, the construction is actually going on. This is an initiative to ensure that there is an increase in medical practitioners in the country. Reporting from Dar es Salaam, Caroline Maleo, TVC News.
Thank you so much, Caroline Maleo, for that story. And on that note, we are ending our news bulletin for tonight. But do not miss our next bulletin in Kiswahili at 11 p.m. I am Faida Ngaga. Good night.